Ni wewe walefuaya Kafa wabaranda Mwe umfokulila kwa bantu Kasama yusi Mose batinda mea bakuru na banda Mose basitata na bana mayo banelila we mwamba Kasama ile fuaya iwe wile webo weshi mwamba Lika experience Alakane wabomba Mwamba Emmanuel Mose wakasama Wale fuaya mwamba Emmanuel Wakasama wakulila
Good day. We've decided to respond, make a brief response to the President's national address through a press conference held at State House on 20th December 2022. I was looking at the statement by the President. Colleagues, it's just 5 pages. The President had identified 6 points to speak to. And I wonder why he took over 3 hours to deliver his speech. Because when you look at the official statement, it's extremely brief. And the President decided to engage in this monologue, long, winding speech. And I think it took away from what he wished to say. The attacks on the PF, the attacks on the previous government, on the previous leadership, on the legacy of the Patriotic Front was totally unnecessary. The combative nature in which he attempted to denigrate the past was unjustified and, in my view, totally unnecessary. The President has been elected to resolve the issues that Zambians tasked him with. He has a mandate for the next 5 years to attend to those issues. Let me give you an example on the matters that he raised, and I think they required a quick response. On the economy, the President said he has restored Zambia's image and credibility in the Global League of Nations. As soon as he said that and engaged in the discussion, I responded on my Facebook page that whoever briefs the president must do a good job, because it makes the president look a liar. It makes the president engage in this discussion that's not founded in truth. For example, he said we were not paying our subscription fees, our annual subscription fees with SADC, with the African Union, with the United Nations. That is not true. Mr. President, when you don't pay the fees, you lose certain rights. You can't feature candidates to stand. Certain things are taken away from you, such as your right to vote. In some circumstances, your power or your opportunity to deliver keynote speeches is also taken away. And Zambia has never faced any such circumstances. I can speak for myself. At the African Union, I featured candidates in Ambassador Albert Muchanga, who was elected among the only 6 African Union commissioners. It's very, very competitive process. We voted and Zambia was voted for. We also won on the African Union Commission, Anti-Corruption Commission Bureau. We won another candidate. Sadly, she passed away early this year. The president spoke. President Edgar Lungu was retired as champion of the African Union to end child marriages, a matter that President Hakainde Hichilema has taken over. I also can speak to SADC because I dealt with SADC when we were chair of the organ in 2017-2018. This is an organ on politics an organ on politics, defense and security under SADC, President Edgar Lungu was chair. And you will remember that President Edgar Lungu had missions. He had to call for deployment, military deployment in Lesotho, and frequently I traveled to Lesotho to represent the president for the Lesotho mission, the SADC mission in Lesotho, some year. I also monitored elections in the region on behalf of President Edgar Lungu and the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So to say Zambia is back in the League of Nations, Mr. President, don't insult Zambia. Zambia is well qualified, well respected. It doesn't matter which president has been here. Dr. Kaunda laid such a strong foundation, and we are glad for the foundation that President Kenneth Kaunda laid at the beginning of the founding of our country, and Zambia is highly respected. So I don't know where the president thinks that that Zambia has been restored because he has become president. Let's tackle another issue. He talked about the issue of the economy. He says we are back to positive economic growth. Mr. President, you took over an economy that was already registering positive economic growth. It was at 1.9% when you took over. He said the entire 10 years was a dip, and he produced this graph that you can see on the screen. There are reasons, well-known reasons. I will not quote my statistics. I will quote IMF and World Bank statistics, why our economy declined. From 2015 to 2016, we had the worst El Nino, that climate effect, which resulted in Zambia having one of the worst severe droughts in 30 years. This affected our crop. There was crop failure, although because of some good rainfall in some areas and because of an ambitious FISI program, we registered a bumper harvest. But 5 of our provinces in Zambia registered crop failure, and we had to support them through food relief under DMMU. 5 provinces. We were affected by the energy sector because we were to suffer load shedding for a long, long period in 2015 and 2016 because our dams were low. We had poor rainfall because of this El Nino effect. 2017, remember, we were affected by floods. And again, floods affected, especially Malawi, Mozambique, Tanzania. Zambia, we had some floods, but not to the extent of Mozambique. And again, drought. Because we are having this combination because of climate change. You are either having floods or you are having droughts. 2019, similar circumstances. 2020, all economies, Mr. President, all economies in the world registered negative growth, except for Ethiopia and China. So this is not as a result of poor governance. All economies in the world, including the ones you admire, like the US, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, all of them registered negative growth. It was just not Zambia. But within a period of 1 year, by 2021, our economy had rebounded, and you found it at 1.9%. The president talks of exchange rate and inflation rate. Yes, we recognize that inflation rate had gone up to 24%. There are factors that our economists have talked about. The exchange rate, yes, as at May 2021, it jumped to 22 per dollar. But, Mr. President, when you took over, the exchange rate had stabilized. Look at the exchange rate in August and on August 12th. Look at the exchange rate, Mr. President. You will find that you found the kwacha at 15 per US dollar. At 15 per US dollar. You found foreign reserves of $3 billion. Part of it was $1.3 billion that was a special drawing rights from the IMF. They gave $650 billion to low and middle income countries to help us with the resilience against COVID-19 pandemic effect. So you found, Mr. President, foreign reserves $3 billion. You didn't find empty coffers. So the issue about inflation rate and stabilizing the kwacha, in my view, is neither here nor there, because you found, then you cited, Mr. President, you cited foreign direct investment, that it had risen from 3.3 billion, is now at 5.24 billion. For me, I don't pay much attention to foreign direct investment pledges, because these are mere pledges. We saw how Vedanta year in, year out pledged $1.5 billion investment that never came for the entire 20 years they were in our country. Most of these are mere pledges until they're actualized, until we see that shovel on the ground, until we see a plant being established, until we see that money right in our bank accounts. For me, I just regard them as investment pledges. Mr. President, you cited progress that you are making in the health and education sector. You cited the employment that was done. It wasn't employment, it was recruitment of 11,200 health workers and about 30,000 teachers. And you've shown us a graph that has jumped from, in 2021, in 2022, the health sector enjoyed 8% and 10.5% budget support. And in 2023, you are projecting that it will be at 10% for the health sector and 13% for the education sector. When Dr. Stubeko Musokotwane issued that budget last year, I said, why are they paying lip service to the health sector? Why would you provide for 10%, yet it's a sector you are parroting that you are making substantive goals, and that you are committed to serving our people in the education and health sector, and you're providing health, free education? I criticized it. And on the recruitment of the health sector, you and I, Mr. President, you know what IMF has been saying. IMF is very concerned about the structure of our civil service, because the civil service is gobbling up to 53% of our domestic revenue, and it leaves us little room to do projects, to service debt and to attend to other needs of the country. And so even adding a 42,000 number to a bloated civil service is a matter of worry. You have to do a strong balancing act. And like we say, the recruitment of teachers and health workers would not have taken place if the PF didn't build those schools, those 110 secondary schools, if they didn't expand up to 14,000 primary school classrooms. It was not going to be possible to do this recruitment if the PF didn't build a brand new university teaching hospital, if they didn't do 650 health posts, if they didn't build 99 mini hospitals, if the PF didn't build 65 district hospitals. You said most of these projects are not completed. Mr. President, that's not true. Most of the projects are completed. But those that are not completed, you will spend the next 5 years commissioning those projects. I am aware that as an expert at communications, we should speak just for about 10 minutes. And the experts say you can speak up to 18 minutes, but the quality of hearing declines, and declines rapidly. So the entire time spent for such a long speech, over 3 hours, was totally unnecessary. You lose audience. So I want to stick to about 10 minutes. Mr. President, I will speak on the last two issues, politics and governance. That you've demilitarized the political space well. We saw cadres, disturb the entire town yesterday. They were running battles with our drivers because cadres are collecting 40 kwacha from each bus. Go into Lumumba, send your people, they'll tell you that UPND cadres are collecting from our street vendors a levy, everyday market levy. Go to markets, you will find the same similar story. So let's not pay lip service, get fully informed on these matters in the event that they are not informing you. Yes, Mr. President, you were tasked to turn around this economy. For me, spend time on the economy. We have one of the worst period for our country, the highest cost of living in the last 30 years, the prices of fuel, the highest it has ever been at 27 kwacha per litre for diesel and 25 kwacha per litre for petrol, the price of mealie meal, price of sugar, price of... Mr. President, those are the priorities for our people. Do not engage yourself in this blame game. Get to work. I was reading a World Bank report where the World Bank has released some money towards supporting, especially the social sector in Zambia, and they are expressing worry that there is no much progress that has been made by the creditors committee that is sitting with the IMF on our foreign debt. Those are matters for me. I want this government to engage itself. You have imminent load shedding, and Mr. President, you said you will not stop exports because you don't want to lose a market. Well, that market is available as far as they don't have power. Save our people. Don't let our people go on load shedding. And let's not allow independent power producers, because I saw, Mr. President, you said you're having a big meeting on Thursday and you are convening everyone that they sign off these solar power plants, that ZESCO could be an off-taker. Again, that requires a huge debate with stakeholders, because the previous process has not helped us. You have independent power producers selling power to ZESCO at far higher rate than ZESCO can sell it. ZESCO has been selling it at a loss, and hence a huge debt it has accumulated for Ndola Energy, Mamba Power, Lunsemfua, and other independent power producers. I agree with you when you said there need to be a revision to contracts with independent power producers. Let's revise those contracts. And the ones you are bringing on board should be below the market for ZESCO. ZESCO should be able to buy this power from these independent power producers at far lower rate, 4 or 5 cents, so that they can sell it to our customers at 7 or 10 cents per kilowatt. So to our dear listeners, we'll be back next year. I think we'll allow you and your families to enjoy this festive season. God bless you. God bless our country. And God bless your families, your households, and travel safely. Keep safe. God loves this country and God loves you. Thank you.